Hello everyone, so welcome back again, and now we are going to discuss about the OSPF authentication. So basically, in case of authentication, there are some security procedure to prevent the unauthorized and the malicious traffic coming from any untrusted neighbor. So OSPF supports authentication to ensure that the routing updates are only accepted from the trusted neighbor. Okay, let us assume that we have two routers. Okay, router 1 is connected to router 2. So router 1 will only accept the updates from the router if the router 2 is authenticated either with the with the type 1 or type 2 authentication. So we have two types of authentication, that are type 1, that is plain text authentication, type 2, that is MD5 authentication. Okay, let's talk about the plain text. In place plain text authentication, the password will be sent in clear text that is really visible in the packet capturing, and it is not secured, only used in test environments. Okay, so dear, first of all we will do the configuration of plain text authentication, and after that we will do the configuration of type 2 or MD5 authentication. MD5 is highly secure and the data cannot be captured during the forwarding. Okay, so dear, we have the network just like this. R1 is connected to R2. So first of all we will do the configuration of OSPF. Okay, so let's start with the router 1. So we already have provided the IP address. Let me show you. Do show IP interface brief. So here IP addresses are already allotted. Let me show you on router 2. IP address is already allotted. So do show IP interface and brief. So here IP addresses are already allotted. So let's first of all do the configuration of OSPF. How we can do that? Router OSPF, router ID 1, network, that is 192.168.10.0, 0.0.0.255, area is 0. We are considering the same area. Okay. Another network that is provided to the loopback 10.0.10.0, 0.0.0.255, area 0. Let's do the configuration on router 2. So router OSPF 1, network 192.168.10.0, 0.0.0.255, area 0. Another network is 10.0.2.0, 0.0.0.255, area is 0. So dear, we have just configured the OSPF. Now we are going to do the configuration of plain authentication. Let's start with router number 1. What you have to do? So first of all you have to select the interface. Okay, there are some steps to do that. Okay, for plain text authentication you have to select the interface, like interface g0/0. Then you have to put a command OSPF authentication, then OSPF authentication key, Cisco, or any random password you have to provide. Okay, so let's do that. So first of all I'm going to select the interface. So the interface over here that is connected to R2 is F0/0. Okay, so let's select that. So interface F0/0. Okay, IP OSPF authentication. Okay, so IP OSPF authentication hyphen key, then you have to provide the password. So any random password we can put, like tech with Ravish. So this is the password I'm going to provide. Okay, so it is saying that the password key will be truncated to 8 characters. So don't increase the password more than 8 characters. Okay, so let me reduce the password. So IPOSPF authentication key tech with. Okay, So it will be automatically accepted. Now password will be, as we can see, when I have provided the password, the neighborship will be automatically broken, because this is password protected and this is not password protected. Okay, when the same password will be provided to both of these, same security key will be provided to both of these, then it will be accepted by both. The neighborship will be done in between these two. So what I have to do, I have to provide the same key to the router number 2. Let's do that. So let's go to router number 2. But before that, let me capture the packet in between these. So here the Wireshark is working. So here we can see that OSPF is forwarding the hello packet, but no response from the other side. Let's open this packet, OSPF header. Here we can see that OSPF is continuously forwarding the hello packets. Okay. Here we can see that R1 is continuously forwarding the hello packet to the R2, but it's not accepted because the authentication issue in between them. So now let's go to the router 2 and provide the same password, okay, and authenticate that. So interface F0/0, okay, IP OSPF authentication key authentication IP OSPF authentication hyphen key, that is tag with. So I'm going to provide the same key. Now when the keys will be matched, the neighborship will be again created. Here you can see that. So the message is forwarded. Okay. So the message is forwarded in between these two, but the problem is that anyone in between them can able to observe the password. So this is our password and that can be exposed in plain text format. So our password is visible during the packet capture on Wireshark. So what we have to do, we have to use the MD5 authentication processor. So I'm going to remove that first of all. Okay, so dear, now we are going to do the configuration of OSPF MD5 authentication. Okay, so how we can do that? By enabling the MD5 authentication. Okay, let's start with the router number 1. How we can do that? So interface F0/0, okay, IP OSPF authentication message digest. So this command is used to enable the authentication. Now I have to provide the authentication IP OSPF message digest key 1. Then you have to provide the type of authentication like MD5 and provide the key. So the security key is again tag 123. Let's provide a random key MD5 tag 123. In the same way, let's do the configuration on router number 2. So interface F0/0 IP OSPF authentication message digest, okay, IP OSPF message digest key 1, then MD5, and you have to put the same key tag 123. Now the key will be forwarded in encrypted format. The neighborship will be again created in between these two. Here we can see. Now let's observe which type of key it was forwarded. So here we can not able to see the key that is forwarded because the key is in MD5 format and not readable by anyone in between the network. So this is how we can do the configuration of authentication in between the two routers. Okay, now what the processor to observe that? Okay, so to observe the interface you can put a command show IP OSPF interface G0/0. So let's put this command show show IP OSPF interface F0/0. So here you will observe OSPF is working in between these two and the authentication is enabled. The authentication is enabled. The key ID is 1 and you can't able to see the password. Okay. So dear, if you have any confusion, you can ask me in the comments and have a nice day.